Now we get to the section of the program which is for me the heaviest one, not because I'm going to start trances simultaneously for him, but because I'm going to face the person whom over the last 10 years I have thought of. I was 18 years of age when I first saw a picture. A young man holding up a shirt splattered with blood. The same picture that became and used as an evidence for the court, as if that fit into the definition of a court, to sentence the holder of that shirt to death and later to 15 years of imprisonment. The young man in the picture was a university student, and I was just got accepted to the university as well, which in my vision was the gate to freedom. But which freedom? In the last 10 years, I have been thinking every now and then what went through his mind when he holds that bloody shirt up. Did he know the risk of his presence in the streets those days? Did he know that the execution and the death is just next door? Did he know the coming years of his life are not going to be the same again? AhmadBatebi is the young man in that picture, which I did not know his name for a long time, since it did not matter. I'm not going to make a statement about another hero. We don't need another hero. We need us. We need someone who is like us. AhmadBatebi. For me, it's an honor to stand by you, to stand by one of us. Ladies and gentlemen, AhmadBatebi, the spokesperson of human rights activists in Iran.
سپاسگزارم دوستان، لطفتون ممنونم. سپاسگزارم، سلام من پذیرا باشید و تشکر که توی این روز سرد و تعطیل زحمت کشید و تشریف آوردید. هر فعال حقوق بشری در ایران اگر زمان کوتاهی فعالیت بکنه متوجه میشه که مشکل نقض حقوق بشر در ایران مشکل فردی نیست و مشکل ساختاریه، یعنی یک مشکل سخت افزاری محسوب میشه در درجه اول.
Every human rights activist in Iran, after a couple of days or after a while being active in Iran, will notice that the human rights discrimination in Iran is not an individual problem, but a systematic and a, how do we say sakht afzar in Iran? It's a hardware problem. It's within the system.
این به این معناست که اگر ما آدم ها رو عوض بکنیم، یعنی اگر آقای احمدی نژاد رو برداریم یا آقای خامنه‌ای رو برداریم کسی دیگه جاش بذاریم، تغییر چندانی ایجاد نمیشه، به خاطر اینکه قوانینی که اجازه میده به در واقع کسانی که حکومت رو دارن یا قوانین رو اجرا میکنن کار نقض حقوق بشر رو ادامه بدن.
It doesn't matter if Ahmadinejad goes or Khamenei goes, and if somebody else comes and replace them, it will be the same because it's not the person again, it's the system. And the laws and the rules and the constitution which is ruling the country cause the problem.
مثلا طبق قانون شهادت دو زن برابر با یک مرده. خب این مشکلی که در قانون وجود داره و تا قانون تغییر نکنه تغییر چندانی توی اصل موضوع ایجاد نمیشه.
Like according to the law, every two women in the court are equal to one man. So this is not this is a problem within the constitution, and that should be changed, not the person.
اما تمرکز ما بر مسئله نقض حقوق بشر بعد از انتخابات گذشته، ریاست جمهوری گذشته.
But our focus will be on the human rights discrimination after the election in June in Iran.
طبق آماری که مجمع فعالان حقوق بشر در ایران تونست جمع بکنه به صورت البته غیر رسمی 6000 نفر تو این درگیری‌ها فقط در تهران دستگیر شدن که مجمع فعالان تونست اسم 1200 نفر و مشخصاتی که کدوم زندان هستن رو در واقع پیدا بکنه و منتشر بکنه.
Human rights activists in Iran, they have gathered information and statistics, of course not officially, that about 6,000 people just in Iran, in Tehran, have been arrested after the election, and they have managed to name 1,200 of those and list their names.
با توجه شناختی که به رفتار نهاد قدرت و دستگاه امنیتی و قضایی داشتیم، انتظار تحت فشار قرار دادن و یا ضرب و شتم دستگیر شده ها بود، اما چیزی که انتظار نمیرفت اتفاقاتی بود نظیر تجاوز و اون اتفاقاتی که به احتمال قوی مطالعه کردین اخبارش داریم در زندان‌ها، که باعث شد حتی رهبر جمهوری اسلامی هم اعتراف این موضوع بکنه و در واقع بازداشتگاه کنیزک رو ببنده.
We were expecting that the people who were imprisoned, who were arrested, will face brutal behavior and will have violent reactions for them. But what we were not expecting was the new way of discriminating, a new way of facing activists, which was rapes and the like problems that came up for them. And even the leader of the country, Khamenei, mentioned it in his speech, and he ordered to close the Kahrizak prison.
یکی از دلایلی که این اتفاق خیلی واضح‌تر شد و افتاد این بازداشت‌های فله‌ای بود، یعنی اینکه دستگاه امنیتی با توجه به اون عدم استقلال دستگاه قضایی با کمک همدیگه دستگیری‌های گسترده‌ای رو انجام دادن و گمان می‌کردن که اتفاقات اینچنینی گم میشه در بین آمار بالای دستگیر شده ها و باز اینم برمیگرده به همون مشکل قانونی که اول صحبتام عرض کردم.
In this massive arrestment that the intelligence service of Iran did, they assumed that because the judiciary does not have any power, this arrestment and this abusement is going to be lost somewhere in between. But it wasn't the case.
این برخورد ناشایست، یعنی تجاوز یا آزارهای جنسی، نه اینکه الان اتفاق افتاده، در گذشته هم بود. یعنی این 10 سالی که من لااقل با زندان سر کار داشتم، بارها شاهد بودم که این اتفاق برای خیلی از آدم‌ها میافتاد. اونها هم مطرح می‌کردن اما به اون صورت توجه نمی‌شد.
This sexual abusement is not something new in the system of Iran. During the time that he was spending his imprisonment, he had heard from his fellows there that this has happened to them, and they have talked about it, but it never came to public as such that this time came out.
خیلی وقتا من برای دوستان اصلاح طلبمون که برای اون دوره قدرت تو دستشون بود از این مسائل تعریف کردم، ولی متاسفانه اون برخوردی که باید می‌کردن رو نکردن و حرفی که به من می‌زدن بود که اصلاحات باید هزینه بده. یعنی تجاوز به بچه‌های مردم متاسفانه جزو هزینه‌ای برای رسیدن به اصلاحات می‌تونستن که متاسفانه این حالا تموم شده.
During the time that the reformists did have the power in Iran, he did complain about the sexual abusement in the prisons, but the reformists claimed that this is part of the change in the country. The sexual abusement is the payment actually that they have to, is part of the payment that they have to pay for the change. And Mr. Baطبی believes that this is what they actually thought, which is not true.
مورد بعدی این که تعداد کشته شده ها آمار دقیقی معمولا منتشر نمیشه، اما مجموع فعالان تونسته اسمش 360 نفر رو پیدا بکنه که در سرتاسر ایران توی درگیری اخیر کشته شدن که 42 نفرشون محل دفن مشخصات کاملشون در واقع وجود داره و منتشر شده.
The human rights activists in Iran have gathered information that about 360 people have died in the country after the election and the mass after it. And just for 42 of them, we have names and lists and that's where they have been buried. But for the rest, we don't have any information.
اما در حوزه جنبش دانشجویی که امروز به هر حال به نوعی مرتبط با اون جریان هست، ما 3 برخورد عمده داشتیم که اولیش در 23 خرداد در کوی دانشگاه اصفهان اتفاق افتاد.
Regarding the student movements, we have faced three incidents. One of them was on 23rd of Khordad. I can't change.